start the service. Well, how many guys are grateful today? You gotta be something you're grateful for, right? At least we're grateful for the weather. 80 degrees for the September. It's been awesome. Well, welcome. My name is Mike Nelson. I'm part of the Central Arts team. And just a couple things that we're grateful for, too, is last Sunday we had the kickoff of our Sunday evening service. And it was a huge success. The place was packed. Student Ministries was thumping. And it was just awesome. So just keep that in mind because of two reasons. Next weekend, we have the Brooksy Way. Now, so for some of you, you're right in those roads that are blocked off on Sunday morning. So next Sunday, maybe you want to sleep in and come back at 6 o'clock for the Sunday service. And then also, because I remember these days my kids were young, and more sports are calling for our kids' time. And on Sunday morning, there's a lot of soccer games and football games and cheerleading and all that stuff. But on Sunday morning, if you have those games, you can come back on Sunday for church. We were talking to a friend last week, and it's exactly what they did. The kids had soccer games in the morning. They went home, and then they came back at 6 o'clock for the service. So Sunday nights are a really cool thing that are happening around here. Also, how many men have been to Man Up before? One person, and he's excited. Who is that? Wow, that's amazing. No, Man Up is a men's retreat. I think this is our 7th year we've done this. And this is an incredible time to get your friends, maybe family members, to go up to Spring Hill Camp, spend 3 days up there. It's a blast, but also there's this great teaching that happens as well. It's October 6th through the 8th. Now, I do know this. October 7th, there's a really big game that's happening on that Saturday. It's Michigan State football game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch the game up at Man Up. So, all right. So, so if you're worried that you're going to miss the game because you're going to be at the retreat, you don't. You're going to go up there, dress up in your maize and blue, green and white, or if you're impartial, whatever. But we will watch the game as well. But put that on your calendar, register, think of someone you can invite, because I know some incredible life change happens at Man Up. So check that out as well. Next week, we're starting a new series called Leave a Mark. And here's a little video kind of give you a heads up on what Leave a Mark's all about.
What would it look like if we all started living out our faith every hour of every day? Instead of only reserving an hour a week to connect with God here, what if we were looking to see what God was already up to here, or here? Join us for a 4-week series where we look to discover how God has strategically gifted and positioned each one of us in the perfect place to leave a mark.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think that during the week, there's 1 hour that we're here, and then there's 167 hours in the week that you're not here. So there has to be the way that we can leave a mark during those 167 hours that we're not here. At the leadership gathering we just had on Friday night, which is an awesome night, we showed a video story of Josh Kozlowski and how God is using this young man to leave a mark in his community at work that's going to change people's lives. And so we're going to show that story again during the series. It's an incredible story, but that's just one story of people who are leaving a mark for God in this place. So 4 weeks, we're going to take a look at that, and it's going to be something you want to invite friends to, and you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And also another way we can leave a mark is still respond to what's happened in our country with the hurricanes, Hurricane Harvey and Irma. And so up here, you can see in the slide, if you want to get involved still, there's always ways you can get involved with finances. And you can text to 77977 right there on the screen, or you can use the Kensington app if you want to make a donation. We're working with partners, church partners who are helping, reallocate those finances to make a difference in those communities. And also in Houston, we are partnering with Thrive Church. And there's a way, you can go right here, the website, kensingtonchurch.org, Rebuild Houston, and you can actually be the hands and feet in Houston. And so if there's something on your heart that you want to make a difference in this world, leave a mark, and you can go yourselves and bring your family members or friends and go to Houston and see what God can do there and how he can use you to make a difference there and kind of the relief efforts. So definitely want to keep them in prayer, and there's still things that we can do back here as well. Well, today we're wrapping up circles and taking a look at relationships. And for me, I'm wired in a way, maybe it's because I'm a guy, but I like to do things myself. And so to the point where it drives my wife nuts. It's like I'd rather try to fix something and have it catch on fire than actually have somebody come and help me and do it right. And there's something about that's wired in me. It's like, no, I can do it myself. But then there comes a time in your life when things are not going well. And maybe there's a time in your life where you're feeling some depression. Maybe there's a time in your life you're feeling hopelessness. And for some reason, when we have that weight in our life and we're feeling that hopelessness, that darkness, we'd rather withdraw from people than actually invite people into our lives.
Yeah, you're right. There's always somebody who has it worse than me. I wish I could look on the bright side. You know, turn that frown upside down. I wish it were that easy. Yeah, I know that everybody has problems. And I know that we all get a little blue sometimes. But see, I am very blue all the time. I'm so blue, I'm purple. But do you know how this feels? How it grips me inside and threatens to rip me apart? It's like a weight that just is on top of me all the time, and some days it's so heavy I can't even move. Oh, a cup of tea, that'll make it all better? Yeah, maybe if it has Prozac in it. I just wish that there was something that could just take away the pain. Because I'm not sure if I can do this much longer. See, I just need to know that I'm not alone. I need to know that somebody cares. Oh, I don't know, maybe I just need a hug sometimes. No, actually, I need somebody to stand by me and help me through this, and somebody to be stronger than me. Because I'm not feeling real strong right now. I need someone to be stronger for the both of us. I need you to tell me that you will not leave me, to tell me that you will not stop loving me, to tell me that you will not go away. I need to know that I'm going to be okay. Am I going to be okay? See, it helps if I can talk it out with someone. It helps if you say something.
It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you.
I can't believe this is real. I can't believe this is true. I can't believe this is happening. I don't know what else to do. Don't want to drown in my sorrows. Don't want to be singing the blues. Don't want to go to complain, but this is some difficult news. Don't know if it's nothing to gain, but man, I got so much to lose. Fighting for strength just to fight. Walking a mile in my own shoes. Trying to see through all the pain, but mentally I'm stuck in my solitude. Looking for ways to escape. I feel like this fight is impossible. The breath is my thought of my soul. I'm facing a difficult road. Trying to hold back all my tears. I can't, so I'm letting them go. This looks like the end of the road. So now I'm just leaning on you. I don't know what else to do. I hope you can help me get through.
Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. Just fight a little longer, my friend.
Just keep fighting.
It's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you.
Yeah.
I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on.
deserve this. It was all good a few weeks ago. I get depressed when I talk about it. Some people don't even know. I'm losing weight and I'm looking older for carrying your weight on my shoulders. What's in my heart? Cause I don't wanna get colder. It's hard when I'm going to public, cause people are starting to notice. I don't wanna answer no questions. Some people just make me feel hopeless. I know life is all about choices, but this wasn't one of my choices. Wouldn't wish it on my enemy, but somehow I gotta stay focused. Now you breathing life in my soul. I'm facing a difficult road. I'm trying to boil my tears. The fear, I'm letting it go. Cause this ain't the end of the road. Because I've been leaning on you, and I don't know what else to do. I know you gon' help me get through.
Don't let the fear make you feel like you can't fly this on your own.
Yeah.
You know why?
You know why?
I'll be there for you no matter where you go.
No matter where you go,
You'll never be alone.
I'll walk this thing out with you.
No, just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end.
It's all worth it.
When you got nobody to turn to,
Just don't give up.
hold on and I'll find you. Just fight a little longer, my friend.
Just keep fighting.
It's all worth it in the end.
That's all you gotta do.
When you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you.
Yeah.
Find you.
I find you.
Find you.
Find you.
Just hold on and I'll find you.
Yeah.
Find you.
Yeah.
Find you.
I find you.
Hold on and I'll
Find you.
Tell you what, I'm fired up right now. I mean, that was epic. And Lon's back there. He's hiding behind there. But man, having and I think a lot of you know that song by Lecrae and Tori Kelly, and we had our own Tori right here with Nicole, and Lecrae. Lon was here to share that with us. What a powerful moment we just experienced. Am I right? I mean, from going from this monologue, which I'm guessing so many of us have lived here, or maybe are here right now. One of our mottos backstage is never underestimate the pain in the room. There's pain in this room. There's people who walked in, they're sitting beside you, maybe it's you, they're feeling alone, they're fighting they're in some valley and they're alone. And they're wondering, who will come to help me? And there's some in this room right now that are on a mountaintop. They're experiencing a victory or something great in their life, and yet they're still feeling alone. And this song written by Lecrae just came out this past August. Great song. It's all about just hold on. I'm coming for you. I've done a couple conferences with Lecrae as we speaking around the country, and he's been there, and I've gotten to know his heart. And man, that song is all about I'll find you is God. Jesus will find you, but he's also saying what to this whole series about is God will find you and help you through people. And by the way, I didn't even know this till I ended the last service and walked out in the lobby. If you want to meet me, I'd love to meet you after the service in the lobby. I walked out there and Lon has a table. So if you want to connect with him and his ministry and his music, he's got a table out there. And he said he's selling a t-shirt. I want the t-shirt he's wearing. Know who you are. I thought that was just exactly true. And so it's so interesting as we walk into week 3 and the final week of Circles, it's interesting where we've been, because basically we've been saying, and I hope if you missed the last 2 weeks, go watch them. And if you need this message again, come back tonight. Seriously, we're going to do this again tonight at 6:30. And last Sunday night was our first ever Sunday night in the history of Kensington, and it was epic. This place was packed, and it was great. And really why we do it, as Mike said, is not just so you can have another chance to hear it again, but it's to get your neighbor to come. Because there were so many that came Sunday night that came up to me in the lobby and said, I can't come on Sunday morning. Thank you. This is awesome. And so it's interesting, as we wrap up this series today, it's all about, as we said for the last 2 weeks, God made you and me to do life what? In community. That's how we're made. It's the human DNA. It's in our soul. It's in every single person's soul. Whether you and I say, I don't need community, I don't need anybody else. No, It's a lie. We all need somebody. That's how we're made in the image of God. We're relational beings, just like God is, and we need one another. And I've often heard people say, Jesus is all I need. No, I didn't. It sounds blasphemous to say that, like a lie that Jesus isn't all you need. Jesus is all you need. I would never say you and I need anything else, but he made us in a way to say that's not enough. The way we experience Jesus in a powerful way is through community, through people. And so, for 2 weeks we've been saying you and I were created for community. The first week, my son Cody said, to get healed, you need to be, it rhymes, I already said it. To get healed, you need to, and I said it better last week. I one-upped him, said to get healed, you need to reveal, but I guess be real is better. But anyway, you need to be real in some relationships where you take off the mask and you're honest and somebody knows what's going on in your life. Somebody knows maybe you're feeling alone, you're going through something. Then you start to heal when you finally speak that out, right? That's the first 2 weeks. And here's what I know. A lot of people are sitting there going, man, you rushed out to the lobby last week, and maybe I hope if you didn't last week, you will today, and you're going to say, man, I'm going to sign up to get in a small group. Because here's the theme of the whole series. The reason we called it Circles is I said last week, see if you can finish my statements. Circles are better than rows. Yeah, some of you were here last week. Circles are better than rows. That's why we call this whole thing Circles. You're sitting in a row right now, and it's good. But circles are better because, at a row you can sort of hide, but when you get in a circle, when you turn your chair to one another and you sit in somebody's house or a coffee shop and you start to share your thoughts and listen to their thoughts, it's better. You grow so much better in a circle than a row. But I know some of you thought, man, I need that, I want that, and you went out to the lobby and you signed up for one, or today you're going to sign up for one. Others sort of went, okay, dude, rows are good for me. I don't need to be looking at somebody, and hear their story and sit in somebody's couch where my knee is like touching their knee. Don't want to go there, right? I mean, rows are just fine. I don't really want to get that. Gets a little too uncomfortable for me. I'm just going to stay in a row, and I get it. I experience that. And so I thought, okay, we need a small group for those kind of people. So we created this video to tell you there's all kinds of small groups, and here's one that we created for you. You might pick this kind of small group instead of others. And I want to say that we did this, but I actually found this on the internet, and I thought it was pretty funny. So here, watch this.
Are you tired of small groups always getting into your business, trying to get you to share your feelings, discuss your past, confess your sins? Are you just looking for a place to kick it, network, maybe get some free grub? Me too. That's why I created what I believe to be the world's first openly shallow small group. We're not here to deal with messy stuff like feelings and emotions. You got problems? You deal with them. You're an adult. Life ain't easy, so stop the pity party. We all have our issues. We don't really want to do life together. Frankly, at Shallow Small Group, we try not to do much of anything at all. You'll never hear us use the term unpack that thought. We're sure it's packed away for a really good reason. And you'll never hear us use the term accountability unless you're talking about someone who deals with numbers. Hey dude, thanks for doing my taxes. You have great accountability. And spiritual growth? Who wants growth? I had a growth removed last week. It wasn't pleasant. There's no pressure here to remember each other's name.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, hey man, how's it going?
That's going good.
Hey, Chief. Oh, dude.
Captain, what's going on?
We know you have a name, and that's the important thing. Group discussion? You got tickets to the big game? Sweet. Let's spend some time on that. Oh, you and your wife are struggling financially? There's tension in the relationship? That's not really the vibe we're going for. We avoid conflict like the plague.
Who wants cake? Come on and get it!
And there will never, ever be an awkward silence. That's our guarantee to you. We hate bad theology as much as the next guy, and we know the surest way to prevent bad theology is to avoid theology altogether. And outreach? This is the only outreach you'll ever have to do. Some people say we're superficial, but hey, the word super's in superficial. I mean, who doesn't want to be super? Shallow small group, because when things get too deep, people drown. Won't you join us?
All right, who's signing up for that? I got to be honest, when I showed that to Ann, like, hey, honey, do you think I should use this? Here's literally what she said. That's the kind of small group you really want. Because I'm sort of that way. I'm like, I don't want to go deep. I don't want to go there. And so I get it. If you're sitting there going, man, this small group thing, I get the row is just fine for me. Here's what I want to do today. I want to take a few minutes and try to persuade and convince you why it's so important for you and I, whether we want to or not, to have a circle in our life, a small platoon, a group of people that can impact our life and we can impact theirs. It's critical to have that. I really believe this, and sometimes it isn't fun, sometimes it's a little scary, but the truth is, circles are better than rows. I'll tell you why. And I got to be honest, I'm lip-syncing a message I heard years ago and reheard again this week by Andy Stanley, the guy who told you last week that pastor at North Point, who actually came up with the phrase, circles are better than rows. And so I'm lip-syncing this. I changed some things to fit me, but if you've ever heard these thoughts, they're not mine. They're Andy's. I mean, it's that good. And here's why, and I think he's right. He's so right. The reason we need some people in our lives that are closer than just a row is because we drift. We drift. All of us drift from what's good and wholesome and right. We just do. It's part of the human condition. It's like we want to do the right thing. We don't want to drift away from what's good and right and wholesome, but we all tend to drift. And I even wrote this down. If it's good for us, we often drift from it. We just do. If it's good for us, we often drift away from it. I thought of the different areas of my life. Tell me if you relate to this at all. You start a diet, right? And that's a good thing, and you're all in, right? And then you drift off. Anybody? I mean, Ann and I last year did the whole 30, right? 30 days, going to change your life. I did like 5. I call it the whole 5, right? Like the 4th day, I'm like, I'm having a Diet Coke. I don't care what the stupid little thing says. I'm all in but this. And then it slipped into a Diet Coke and some sugar. And then, next thing you know, they're doing it and I'm watching it. It really worked, right? So it's like we do that with diet. How about fitness? You ever start a fitness program really good and then, you guys remember P90X? An extreme 90 days will change your life. I do P1X. It's like one day you're like, that was hard, not doing that again. I mean, it's crazy, right? How about this? You ever set up a budget? Sat down, said, we're going to stay to this budget. And next thing you know, a little expenditure here, a little one there. And the next thing you're off, you drift away. How about this? I'm just getting real personal now. Have you ever said, I'm going to drive the speed limit? Right? 65 on the highway. And then next thing you know, look down, you're going 85. Anybody? Should we just show hands on all these? That's me. You can put it locked in there, but no. How about this one? And I added this one. I thought, this is so true. Have you ever walked out of this auditorium? This gets real personal. And you're just like, oh my gosh, that was a powerful day. I've been impacted. And you walk out to the lobby and you're like, I'm going to be a different guy. I'm going to be a different person now. You get in your car and you're like, this is going to last like all week. And before you're out of the parking lot, you're yelling at the people in front of you trying to leave church. Anybody? I mean, you're like in that line and they're trying to get onto Lapeer. And have you ever done this? I did it last week on my motorcycle. Like, hello, there's nobody coming. Turn, get onto Lapeer. Hello, we have people out there going like this. And they're just sitting there like, I don't know. Anybody? I mean, that's a minute after church. You're like calling people idiots that go to church with you. I mean, I didn't do that. I know you do that. But I mean, we all do that. It's like crazy how we drift away from what we want to be and what's good and what's right. And it's actually scary how that happens. And here's the amazing thing. We all know this. The current of life, the gravitational pull of life, pulls us away from what's good. It isn't usually the current is making us do the right thing. Usually we have to go against the current to do the right. Am I right? Parents, have you ever felt this? Like when you sent your kids to school. I can remember this when we first sent we had 3 sons. They were all married now. But when we sent them to like first grade, you remember that day? You took the pictures, all thing. But when they're getting on that bus or going to school or you drop them off, you're just gripped with fear. And the fear for a parent is we have tried to establish values in them. We are trying to help them to live the right way. They're going to school and they're going to be around kids that don't live that way. And they're going to have to fight against the stream. Anybody? It's like you're actually gripped with fear that that's going to happen. And they're going to have to fight against that stream in first grade. Yep. Second, third, fourth, high school, college. Yep. The whole time. It's like, are they going to live out our values or are they going to just be pulled into the current, the gravitational pull of other values that we disagree with? Every parent feels that fear. And here's what I know some of you are doing. Some of you right now is like, if you didn't send them to public school, you wouldn't have to. You send them to Christian school. Trust me. All right, I've been there. The pull is very strong against even there. And I know some of you just said, well, you need to homeschool. Trust me. We live in a world, all of us, and our kids do as well, where the current is going to pull them to drift away from what's right, and we have to fight against it, right? So we all drift. It's the natural pull of life. And here's the interesting thing about the core truth of Christianity that we're trying to sort of talk about in this series. I just wrote it down this way. We have not been called to swim alone against that current. We have been called to swim together. See, if you're trying to swim alone against that current, good luck. But when you swim in schools, isn't that what they call a group of fish? Schools of fish? So you need a school. You don't need a circle. You need a school. I'm kidding. But, when you swim with other people against that current, oh, my gosh, you have so much better chance to win this thing. And so the question is, how do we do community? Because that's the power. And I mean it. There is power in living life in a circle, not just a row. Rows are good. Circles are better. Circles are actually great. And so all I want to do is take you to a text that I didn't even plan to put in this series till this week. It's like, man, there's this beautiful book in the New Testament, which is really an interesting book. A lot of us haven't read it. It's sort of tucked sort of toward the back of your New Testament. And it's the book called the Book of Hebrews. Anybody know the Book of Hebrews? There's a joke about it. You ever heard this one? Oh, God's into coffee. He's got a book in the Bible called Hebrews. Anyway, that's stupid, bad Christian humor. But that's how you'll never forget Hebrews now. There you go. So, right? But here's the interesting thing about Hebrews is we don't know who wrote it. Most of the Bible, we know who wrote Matthew, Mark. They identify themselves. Hebrews, we don't know. There's scholars that think it was Paul. Some think it was Luke. Nobody knows for sure. All we know is that it was put in the canon, the collection of books that is in the New Covenant, which means New Testament, not the Old Covenant. The Old Testament, where God is dealing with the Old Covenant, was God's relationship with Israel. The New Testament is God's relationship with all of us through Jesus. And so we have this beautiful book of Hebrews, which, man, by the way, it's a great book because it compares the Old Covenant, how it used to be, to the New Covenant. What it was like before Christ, what it's like now after Christ. And one of the things he gets into early in the book is community. What we're calling circles, how important that is. And he says something to us that I think is God speaking to us today in chapter 3. I'll read it to you. He says, "See to it, brothers and sisters, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God." Now, first thing you got to do when you break down a verse, like, okay, who's he writing this to? Well, he says brothers and sisters. So he's talking about people in the church, people that are followers of Christ. So he's not talking about people that aren't there. He's talking about you and I. If you're a follower of Christ, he's saying, brothers and sisters, see to it, what? That you don't turn away from your faith to God through an unbelieving, he says literally from a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God. And when you first read that, you think, who would turn away from God? Once you've experienced God and you know what's right, you want to do what's right? Like, who would turn away from God with a sinful, unbelieving heart? Who? Me? Anybody else? Hand going up? Have you ever turned away? Yeah, you want to raise your hand in church? Yeah, I'm a sinner. Yeah, I'm kidding. You don't have to. And you're like hitting your spouse like, why isn't your hand going? Anyway, we turn away. It isn't just me and you, it's everyone drifts away. And the interesting thing that we're going to get into is we don't usually turn away in one move. It's a drift away. It's little decisions and thoughts and temptations that often nobody knows that leads us to a place that, oh my gosh, we have a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from God. And it's interesting. What does the writer say we need to do about it? It's right in the first couple words. He says, see to it, brothers and sisters. By the way, it's not singular, it's plural. See to it, brothers and sisters, that none of you drifts to a place of unbelief from God. So what's see to it mean? See to it means you and I need somebody in our life that'll see to it. Somebody in our life that knows and notices when we start to drift. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's really, really important, because here's the thing about the drift. And I wrote this one down again, so if you want to write this down and follow, here it is. The drift begins within. See, the drift in our hearts and our faith and our journey isn't something that's always seen publicly. It's always, and I mean always, started privately inside, and no one often knows. Right? And so what the writer here is saying, he says, you need somebody that can see to it. They notice when there's a drift. They speak into it because you are in a circle relationship with them that's close enough, we'll get to that in a minute, that they have access to your life to actually speak into it, because it begins within. It begins with a temptation. It begins with a doubt. It begins with a question, and nobody knows. See, here's the bad thing about rows. And again, rows aren't bad, but here's one of the bad things about rows. Rows don't know. I'm going to try and do what Lon did today. I'm going to rhyme everything, all right? Rows don't know. See, the thing is, when you sit in a row, and again, it's good, but rows don't know what's going on with the people sitting beside them. That's why circles are better, because it's like, oh, if my heart starts to drift, if I'm in a circle, somebody will catch it and help me. But if I'm just in a row, nobody knows. Am I right? I mean, if you think about it, it's like, you walk into church, and I came off the stage last week, and I thought it was sort of fun. I don't know if you think it's fun. You're probably the preachers coming down and say, here it is, getting in my business. But here's what I said last week. Circles are better than this. This is good, but you're looking back at people's heads, and you don't know people sit beside you. Here's why rows don't know. And I don't know exactly what happened in your car on the way to church today, but I'm guessing, okay? Some of you drove here in minivans. Any minivans? Yeah, I had like 9 of them. You won't have it forever. Trust me, one day you'll move out of the minivan. Now they're really cool. But anyway, so you're driving to church. I'll just pick. There's family, got some kids, all right? So I'm guessing. I have no idea, and you don't either, because you're in a row, right? But I'm guessing if they're like most families, there might have been some anger in the car on the way here. Maybe not that family. Okay, they look so perfect. But you know what I'm saying? But you're driving to church. This ever happened? First of all, you're like, get in the car. Where are you, honey? Get them in the car. It's your job. They're late. And so everybody's running out there, and you're like throwing the doors shut. That's why they have electric doors now, because you used to slam them into your kids' fingers. But everybody's getting in the car, right? And you're late, and you're driving here, and you're yelling in the car on the way to church. Anybody? Confession time. You're forgiven. But it's like, that's what's happening. And you're on the way, and you're like, we're going to worship Jesus. Just shut up and let's go. And there's this tension between husband and wife, or single mom and, the kids, and there's all this thing, and they're back there like, right? That's what's in the car. We're going to worship Jesus, and we're going to like it, right? Am I right? Now, here's the thing. That might have happened in your car. Nobody knows. Because when you get to that parking lot, actually, when you turn on to Lapeer, actually, it doesn't stop till you get parked. Because when you turn on to Lapeer, I know what you guys do. You turn into this parking lot, and it's still there. You're like, these guys are idiots. They're trying to make me park there, and I should be parking there. How many of you did that? I have a buddy on the traffic team, and he says, we're going here, park there. And they're like, yeah, screw you. I'm parking here because I know better than you guys. I've heard that. Like, I know better. Trust me, we have a plan. There's a reason we're doing it. Anyway, so it's still there when you come onto the church parking lot, but here's where it ends. You open the door, and it's like, butterflies. Jesus. Church, and you look at your kids like, don't you even show any of this to them, because, right? So you walk in here, hey, man, how you doing? Oh, we're doing great. And your kids are like, no, we're not. But they're getting the evil eye from mom or dad, right? It's like, you won't even. And then you sit down, right? And you sit down beside people in a row, and you do what I did, and everybody does. You look at the people beside you, and you think, there's no way they're as screwed up as we are. Look at them. They're all perfect. Look at the calmness and how they're sitting here, right? And so you feel less than, because you know the reality of what's going on in your life, and you think it's not like their life. But guess what they're thinking? They're looking at you thinking, and guess what? Rows don't know what's really going on. So you'll get in your car and you'll go home today, and if you never get in a circle and you never share with other people that are living the same struggle as you are, you'll always think it's only you alone. And guess what? People alone never change. Do you hear me? Rows are great. They're not the best. Because until you, and some of you still refuse to do it, okay, I can tell you what your life will look like in 10 years. If you do not get in a circle in some way, and we are offering that every week in this series, and we'll never stop offering it because we know, we've experienced this. Until you take that chair and turn it like that and get to hear somebody's story and they hear yours, you'll never change. I'm telling you, you think Jesus will change you? Nope, won't happen. Jesus designed it this way. You need Jesus and people. It's the way he designed it to be. And if you sit in a row your whole life, good luck. I mean, it isn't like what we do here doesn't matter. It really matters. But if we do this and you don't get in a row, good luck. Yeah, I told you last weekend we were in Houston doing a marriage conference. What did we say at the end of the marriage conference? This conference will not change your marriage. You've got to do marriage with other couples. We're doing a marriage conference in Detroit. Ann and I and the Family Life team in the city of Detroit. We're going to be at the Ren Center November 10th through 12th. Sign up, get there. Family Life Weekend, remember. And I guarantee you, when you get there, it'll be an awesome weekend. But at the end of the weekend, I'll say, this will not change your life unless you connect with other people doing marriage. It's just going to be a great weekend. And 6 weeks later, you'll be like, this didn't stick. It didn't work. Yep, it never sticks when you just do life in rows. Why? Because rows don't know. You know what's amazing? Is I get emails, used to be calls, but now emails, usually to my assistant, Debbie, and they come into me, and I got a couple this week. Happens all the time. It's been happening for 20 years. And it'll go like this. Hey, our marriage is in trouble, and it's really my husband, and if you would just meet with him, you could save our marriage. I'm not kidding. I get those emails from wives in this church. And they really believe with their heart of hearts, if Dave Wilson will meet with their husband will be saved because he connects with me and blah, blah. I've never met her husband. He didn't email me. She did. First red flag. Never going to meet with a guy who doesn't email me, first of all. And secondly, she is thinking, and it goes both ways. The wife can email, or the husband can email my wife thinking, the bad thinking, the wrong thinking is if I meet with them, it'll save their marriage. The right thinking, and I think this right away, is like they have nobody in their life. They're reaching out to their pastor. And I know what they think. I get it. A man of God is going to be out. No. Guess what? If you are that desperate and you have nobody else in your life that knows this, guess what? You're in trouble. Because rows don't know. And I'm thinking, they're sitting in our church and there's people beside them that don't even know this. And now I get an email that says, we're desperate. Nobody knows. Guess what? Rows can't do that. That's why they're not great. You know, even when I got this, think about this concept. Think about this. What if your parents would have connected in a circle, not just a row? How would it be? How would you be different today? I thought about my family growing up. My mom and dad, when they were still married, took my brother and I to church every Sunday, and we sat in a row. Every Sunday. Every family I knew did that. They went to church every Sunday and sat in a row. And nobody knew what was happening behind the closed doors in our home but my little brother and I, watching my mom and dad implode. Nobody in the church knew. In fact, my dad was an airline pilot. He built houses on the side in a gated community. I guarantee you the rest of the church said, now that family, they're successful and they have it together. And there was nobody in my dad's life. He never sat in a small group of men in a circle. There was no man, I'm guessing, that ever looked at my dad and said, dude, you're drinking too much. Why are you having another? And my dad became an alcoholic. Nobody knew. No guy ever probably said to my dad, hey, you're looking at women too long. I noticed your eyes watched her. Nobody called him on it. And so he ended up sleeping with those women, taking me on trips with his mistresses while he's still married to my mom. And nobody knew at the rows, because rows don't know. Do you see why you need a circle? Because you fall off a cliff one bad decision at a time. My dad did not walk away from our family because of a theological disagreement with God. He walked away from our family because of small temptations and decisions that no one saw to it. No one stepped in and said, dude, I love you. I want to speak something to you. Or nobody spoke into, or he never got a chance to do that with anybody else. I'm just telling you, circles are so much better. And so the writer of Hebrews says, man, I encourage you, right? And he goes to the next one. He says, but encourage one another. He says, see to it. So we got to be involved in each other's lives. But he says, encourage one another. It's really interesting when you go to the Bible and you say, okay, what's this word encourage mean in the actual Greek? Here's literally what it means. It says appeal to, exhort, urge strongly, beg, implore, entreat. What's he saying? Encourage one another. Here's what encouragement looks like. It looks like be in each other's lives. Know what's going on. Be able to detect a drifting heart. Notice so that you can say something so that they don't have to struggle alone. See, alone is always bad. It's just not the way God made us to be. So he says, encourage one another. It's like, man, you've got to be in relationship with somebody and you want to be that to their life. They can be that to your life, where that can absolutely, literally stop a devastating decision because it was caught before. Because the drift is within, right? So it's private and nobody will know, but there will always be symptoms of what's going on the inside. You'll see it. But if you're not close enough, you can't see it. You can't see drifting from a distance. You see it much different when it's within, up close. Now, the question is, who is up close in your life? And I know what some of you are thinking is, I don't want anybody up close in my life. And I would say to you, well, guess what? Because your heart is a heart that's going to drift toward unbelieving, sinful heart, you're going to be in trouble, either now or later. I don't need any other dude in my life. Good luck. Yes, you do. I don't need another woman in my life. Good luck. Yes, you do. You can't do it without Jesus, and Jesus says you can't do it without people in your life, and they're sitting near you or they're in relationship already with you, and it's like, okay, when are you going to step up to say this? He goes on to say, but encourage one another daily as long as it's called today. It's one of the verses I'm not sure I ever understood. It's like, what does today mean? Well, first of all, it says encourage one another daily. Does it have to be every single day? No. It's a principle of regularly. You have to decide, if your heart's starting to drift or somebody's starting to see something, is this something I need every day or is this something I need every week? But I tell you what, it can't be every 2 months. I remember, it's sort of funny now, but I remember Steve Andrews when we were starting Kensington in 1990. I said to Steve, he was one of those guys in my life. I said to him, dude, I got to be honest with you. I need to speak this out to somebody, but I'm struggling with pornography. This was before digital, all right? And I said that to him. He goes, dude, I'm your guy. I'll hold you accountable. I go, good. I need you to ask me about it because I want victory here, but I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. I'm your guy. 6 weeks go by. And one time we're in the car and he goes, hey man, by the way, how you doing with that porn thing? I go, dude, it's been 6 weeks. You're not the guy. He goes, what do you mean? I go, do you struggle with it? Not at all. Yeah, you don't understand the struggle. You can't ask every 6 weeks. You got to ask like every 6 minutes, okay? Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. At least every day. And there are times you don't need to ask every day, but right then I needed you to ask every day, and you're not the guy. I love you, dude, but I'm going to find somebody else that knows the struggle, or I could end up in a very bad place. So that's why the writer says, encourage one another daily as long as it's called today. I'm like, that's what I hate about the Bible. Is like, I don't understand what he means, called today. It's powerful. Here's what he's saying. As long as you're alive, it's called today, you're going to need somebody to see to it that you don't have a sinful, unbelieving heart. Here's what he's saying. You're never, ever going to get to a place where you got it. You hear me? You're never going to get there. Oh, I got it, man. I'll never be tempted with this again. You'll never get there till you die. As long as you're still alive, today is still real. You need somebody, right? That's the way it is with sin and temptation. It's never going to get to a place where you got it. My son Cody and I, he's never played golf before. We've been playing a lot of golf together, and he's just learning. So he'll hit a drive, and he like nails it, like down the middle, 270. He's like, I got it, man. I got it. I go, no, you don't. You never get a golf swing. No, Dad, did you see that? I got it. Yeah, let's watch the next tee pop. Into the waves. Go, what happened? That's life. You will never conquer completely this area as long as it's called today, as long as you're breathing. And you're going to need somebody that knows the drift within to see to it that we don't go there. But then he says this. He says, but encourage one another daily, as long as it's called today, so that, that's the purpose statement. You guys understand that in English, right? He gives you, here's why, here's the purpose. So that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. Now, it's interesting. In the Bible, it's really interesting. Often they talk about sin almost like it's an entity, a person within you. He says, you can be hardened. By the way, a very interesting word that he chose. We go from a soft heart to a hard heart. How does that happen? In one decision? No, many drifting, silent within decisions. That a soft heart becomes hardened by what? Sin's key word, deceitfulness. By the way, when you read the Bible, you need to understand every word. Every word is very specific. It's like, sin can deceive us. How's that happen? It's like within us, and we start saying things to ourselves. And again, this is private, nobody knows. But we start saying things to ourselves like this: I deserve this. How could anybody expect me to resist this temptation? Oh my gosh, we say things like, nobody will ever know. I'll do this one time. I'll never do it again. I'll wake up tomorrow, it's done. Nobody will ever know. That's sin's deceitfulness. And that happens within, nobody knows. When you sit in a row, nobody knows. That's the kind of thoughts you and I have been having all week. Now, the phrases I just said to you, just so you know, those are thoughts I've heard. Because some of you think, oh, he's a preacher. You never think, no, I've had those very thoughts. Nobody will know. This won't really hurt my kids. One more beer is just one more. We've all had these thoughts. And often nobody knows, but there's the drift. And we can often feel it in our soul. Does anybody know? In a row? No. In a circle? Yes. And I know that scares you to think, so I'm going to get in a circle and, yep. Now, here's the thing. When you go to that circle the first time, you don't have to share all that. Like, I'm going to go to a place and we're going to turn our chairs, and I'm going to, no, don't. Just go there and hang out. Seriously, you think you got it? No, just go there and hang out. Here's what happened. Other people start to talk, and you'll be sitting there after a week or two, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can trust these people. Oh my gosh, these people are just like me. Oh my gosh, this dude here, I like this dude. He boom. A relationship starts, and someday you'll just find yourself going, I got to tell you something I've thought this week. And they're not going to go, oh my gosh, you sinful, going to hell pagan. They're going to go, thanks. I've had that thought too. I want victory in Christ, don't you? Yeah. How do we do this together? And you'll start a journey that will literally change your life. I had a guy walked up to me a couple years ago at Man Up. In the back, I'd spoken Friday night, and it was Saturday night, I think, and he walks up to me and he goes, man, I go to another campus, but could I grab you for a minute? Sure. Step out into the little area, and he starts to share a temptation that he's struggling with, trying to make a decision about that will destroy his marriage, his kids, and his future. Because every temptation that we're battling with within, always, there's so much at stake. Your future's at stake, your faith's at stake, and your family's at stake. And he's sharing this thing, and he's like, I said, who have you told this to besides me? And he goes, I've never spoken these words out loud. I go, we've never met. He goes, I feel like I can trust you. I said, you can, and here's what I'm going to tell you. You need to tell somebody by midnight. And he did, at Man Up. And I saw him a few weeks later, doesn't even go to this campus. And he told me, those guys have saved my marriage, and like you said, my future and even my kids. Did I do that? No. The circle he stepped into did that. I'm telling you, guys, if you haven't signed up for Man Up, those are the kind of things that will literally change your life, because you meet guys you've never done life with before, and they become your circle. And by the way, I'll make a quick footnote. I'll often say guys need guys, women need women. I mean that. Couples need couples. And I think I don't need to say this. I need to say this because some guys are coming up to me, man, I met this girl. Is it your wife? No, but she gets me. And I'm starting to share some things with her. Dude, run away from that woman. Do not ever share. It's a guy for men and a woman for women. I have no women in my life that ever get my heart. Never is not allowed. I have one woman. Her name's Ann Wilson. That's it. And I have some guys. John's sitting right there, and they're out in this congregation that get the stuff. When I'm drifting within, they call me on it because they see to it, and I have access to them as well. And it's all here. It's like, oh my gosh, I'll never win this thing. You'll never win this thing alone. It's plural. So I wrote this down. We is the best defense against me. It's in the passage. He's saying, you need a brothers and sisters in your life. You'll never win this thing by yourself. And we think, oh, I can do it. I can share it. I'm afraid to share it with anybody else. It's going to take courage, and you're going to have to go there. But once you go there and you invite somebody in, oh my gosh, it changes everything. What you need, and what I need, is somebody to have access to areas of your life that you don't give to everybody else. And I'm not saying you give this to anybody else. You give it to a couple people. 3 or 4. Really, you only need one to start, and maybe 5 or 6, but it's not 1,000 or 100. It's just a couple. You know, it's interesting. After this next service, I get on a plane with the Lions, and we fly to New York, because we play on Monday Night Football this week, tomorrow night in New York, right? And so when I get there, I'll get my credential for the game tomorrow at MetLife Stadium, which means they give me a pass that goes on my belt when I walk into the stadium that I can go anywhere. In fact, when I go to Ford Field on home games, I have a credential. I'll show it to you. This is my credential that I wear at Ford Field that allows me access anywhere. Now, I know you're looking at that going, look at that picture. I don't know why they use this picture every year. They've used this picture since 25 years ago. Yes, I used to have hair, a little bit, sort of. I don't even know how I get in it. I don't even look like that anymore. But when I have that wrapped around my neck, I can go anywhere in the stadium. Why? Because right under official, it says what? There it is, all access. So what's that mean? I have access anywhere in the stadium. And there's certain levels of credentials. That's the highest one you can get. So I can walk on the sideline. I can walk on the field, pregame, whatever. If somebody gets hurt and I need to go to the 50-yard line and pray for them, I have all access. Security's everywhere, and they look down, they see that, and they just let me go, right? Other people don't have that kind of access. I have that, and I thought, okay, here's what this means to you. And please don't just remember the picture. Remember the principle. You need somebody in your life that you give an all-access pass to. You're not going to give that to very many people, but a couple people need to have access to all areas of your life. And if you don't do that, the drift within, nobody will ever know, and you'll end up falling off a cliff. Right? And by the way, you don't have to give it, like I said, to very many people. I've given the all-access pass to my wife on wedding day. You can see to it. Please see to it. And she gave me the same thing. So we have an all-access pass. But there's some guys in my life that I've given that to as well. Not a lot, but a few. And I have all access to their life. I mean, it's so good to know, standing right here on the stage, that that guy's got all access to my life. And there's some other, I probably don't even see where they're sitting, but they know all the stuff that could be drifting inside here that it's not appropriate for everybody to know, but somebody better know. So I'm wondering this. What have you been telling yourself lately? What kind of things is your mind sort of leading you to drift toward a sinful, unbelieving heart? And here's the question. Who knows? Does anybody know? Because like if you said that out loud to a buddy, would he say, dude, you're nuts. What are you thinking? You need somebody in your life that goes, what are you, let me play this out. This is where this is going to go. Dude, if you do this, you know your dad, you're going to end up the same place. Rows don't know that. Only circles know that. And so all I will say is this. One thing, small thing, can lead you all the way to a sinful, unbelieving heart. People don't walk away from their marriages because of a theological disagreement with God. People walk away from their marriages because of one small look that nobody ever knows, that leads to, or one doubt or question that's never spoken out to anyone to say, dude, I'm struggling with this. Help me. I don't know if I can stay in this relationship. I don't know if I can win over this sin. If you never sit in a circle and speak that, I'm telling you what your future is, and it's not good. And all of that, it sounds so simple. All of that can be avoided by getting in a circle and saying, I've got to do life with somebody. And maybe it's selfish because it's like, I need help. Start there. And then as you get in that relationship, you'll start to say, it isn't just about me. I can actually help them. And the next thing you know, you have a band of brothers, a band of sisters that literally will change you and change the world. So I want to show you a video of a couple. It's out at our Clarkston campus now that absolutely captured this idea. They had no idea they wanted to be in a circle or a small group. They started coming here. You'll hear the story and just watch the beauty of what God does in their life. We're going to take our offering during this as well, which is people that are in circles or part of this church to say, I believe in this mission, they give. And if you're new here, you don't have to give. Your next step is not to give, but to go out in the lobby and say, I want to start here. What do? We have a thing called Starting Point. People with orange shorts on say Starting Point. That's your next step. But let God speak to you through this story.
So we met in college. I grew up in Canada. He grew up in Midland, Michigan. And we dated for a really short period of time, 6 months, and then got engaged.
Not recommended.
It was great. Good experience. 6 months we dated, got engaged, got married 3 months later. So we did it fast. 6 months later, we found out we were having a baby. Super excited. And then about 20 weeks, when you get the regular ultrasound, we found out that she was going to be born with spina bifida. The doctors painted pictures for us that were just like, you know, the very worst case scenario. She's not going to walk. She might be able to talk. Wheelchair bound her whole life. Ill all the time. Lots of brain surgeries. So they painted a really bad picture for us.
For me, I was having a really hard time making sense of it. I didn't really know what to do or where to go or who to talk to. I had really no context for any of it. It was like survival. It was just figuring out, how do I get through exams? And then how do I step into something bigger than that? That period of time from when she was born, or maybe even a little bit before that, to maybe 3 or 4 years later was far and away the most isolated I've ever felt.
My family is all in Canada. I'm the only one here, and they're 6 hours into Ontario. So they physically couldn't be here. I moved to a different country, so that part was really hard for me, to even just be newlyweds and have your family not be around. But then to have a child, and then have a child with special needs and not have my mom, who is a special needs teacher, so far away and, can't physically be there. It was lonely.
We had a couple of friends who were going to Kensington at the time, and they were rolling out a small group study. 2 friends in particular who were newly married kept asking us to join this group, and we had not been going to church. We did not have a community. We were not really interested in driving from Plymouth to Rochester Hills once a week. My buddy kept begging us, just join, just check it out. And so finally we did. And when we got there, it was a house full of people our age, and some
nobody had kids.
Somebody we knew, some we knew, some we didn't know. And I can remember in the first couple of sessions being there for 2 hours and then driving an hour home, and just being in the car and sort of looking over and being like, that was good.
Mm-hmm. We were like, that was super worth an hour drive. People are listening to us, and we get to listen to other people. And we're not just focused on raising our family. It was I don't know, I felt like we felt the Lord super close, even though we were clinging to him in the situation with Claire, but it was a different aspect and a different characteristic of the Lord that was brought in with the community.
There's a certain level of freshness when you're in a desert sort of scenario, so to speak. And then you step into something where it's a giant glass of water. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, that tastes really good. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had that drink in a long time. And you start realizing how necessary it is.
We just kept coming. And we met another couple in that group that they invited us to come and live with them because we were throwing around the idea of moving up this direction, him quitting his job and moving up this direction to be with this community. And they said, hey, we're newlyweds. We just bought this house and we have a full basement. You guys come live with us. And we'd known this couple 6 months, and we were like, okay, let's do it. We have a kid, you mind? And they were like, no, come. We went from no community to living with community, and it was awesome. And they just swooped Claire up like she was their own and helped us in those early years.
Come on.
They got to see her take her first steps, and she walked from me to Natalie across a rug. Sorry.
It changed everything. I mean, it changed not just for us, but it changed our whole community outlook. It changed the way that we raise our kids.
Like who, your wife? I don't know.
Claire is almost 16. She'll be 16 this summer. And she is friends with everyone. You know, being a part of a community and with her now, it's so amazing to see other people pour into your children and encourage their gifts and encourage their just their positive attributes that they've been given from the Lord. To have a community come around you and encourage your kids without you doing anything, it's really amazing. Just the quantity of time that we had together and the quality of time, it's something that I never knew I was missing. And then when I had it really, I would never turn away from a community again. It just is so, it's the way we were made to live.
When you step into a relationship that very much is like a covenant outside of your marriage and with other people, I cannot express how important it is. I can't even articulate all the benefits that you would get from that. But for me and for us as a family, I mean, it quite literally changed the history of our family. It changed the legacy that we're laying for our kids. It totally changed everything. It's that important. People think I'm exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. It changed the legacy of our family.
I mean, what a great story. And I thought, you know, some of you are sitting in this chair today, you're struggling, and nobody knows because Rose don't know. Some of you are on top of the world, and nobody knows. And God don't want you to live that way. And I was thinking, watching that, I mean, how beautiful that is. I thought, God wants to give you, I've got this, so he wants to give you a Christmas gift in September. Why do I say Christmas? Because it's in Christ that you find this. In September, the Christmas gift is a circle of friends to do life with. And they're waiting for you in the lobby today. You walk out, there's all these different tables. Just ask the Holy Spirit of God to lead you. And you're not saying I'm in a group. You're just saying, I've got questions. What's this look like? Maybe you're like, man, that's too far for me. I'm just sort of checking this whole thing out. We have a group called Alpha, which is a Monday night group, starts actually tomorrow night, where you come ask questions. And you sit around and discuss. You're not like, I'm not in yet. I'm just on the outside looking in. Come to Alpha. It's an awesome first step for some of you. But others are like, man, I need some community. The gift is waiting for you in the lobby. And by the way, that one's pretty radical. Like, they moved into their basement. We're not asking you to move into somebody's basement, all right? All right, we're not talking about that. Was a pretty radical thing. Just go to their basement for an hour and then go home. All right? And then do that for a few weeks and just see where it leads to. And by the way, I said this last week, but you might try several groups before you end up with the guys or the gals or the couples that you end up doing life with. Don't give up. Just keep going. Why? Because God wants you to do that. And so we're going to end the day with a song. I love this song, although it's sort of a song a lot of people don't know. It's called Wonder by Hillsong. And I heard Joel Houston talk about this thought of what this song means. The thought was he was listening to his 5-year-old with this wonder of the world that kids have. And he thought, when do we lose our wonder? He goes, I'm an adult now, and I don't look at the world with wonder anymore. And then it hit him. He said, that's what Jesus brings back to your life, a sense of wonder. See the world the way he sees it, to see relationships and people the way he sees. And so as we sing this song or listen to this song, I want you to watch the images we're going to put on the screen, because every one of them is people in community. And I know your soul, like my soul, longs for that. And I'm telling you, the wonder you're longing for is in Jesus and in that, in community. So let's let God even speak to us about the wonder through this song.
Glimmer of her sight as the eyes begin to open, the blindness meets the light. If you have so say, I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Have you ever seen the wonder? The air of second life, having come out of the water, the old one left behind. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in grace, I see the world in gospel, I see the world your way. Jesus will, you're the wonder in the wild. I see the world your way, I'm not afraid to follow. I see the world your way, I'm not ashamed to say so. I see the Jesus way, and I'm walking in it. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in it. I see the world in grace, I see the world in gospel, I see the world your way, and I'm walking in light. I'm walking in the wonder, in the wonder in the wild, in the wonder into wonder. So say, I see the world in love, I see the world in freedom, I see the Jesus way, the wonder in the wild.
I tell you what, you and I want to walk into that world waiting for us out there with a sense of wonder, walking in the light. And I tell you, It's this simple. Jesus, people, Jesus, people, Jesus and people. That's it. He brings a sense of wonder back, a light back, and it's waiting for you literally out in that lobby. You walk out there. If you've never been connected here, you got your chance today. That'll never end, but today is a day to take that first, sometimes really courageous, scary step. Do it. It will change your life. And let me say this. You know, sometimes we wait a whole week till we get back together again in the big group so that we can be inspired to do the things that we need to do during the week. This week, you don't have to wait till next Sunday. You can be here Wednesday night, but don't come here. We won't be here Wednesday night. Make sure you tell everybody, we're not going to be here. Where are we going to be? We're going to be in Pontiac at the Strand Theater, 7 o'clock. We're doing our midweek there. It's going to be an awesome night. If you haven't got tickets yet, they're almost completely gone. Either get them today in the lobby or maybe buy them at the gate Wednesday night if you want to take that risk. And all that money is going to our school partnerships in Pontiac. It's going to be a beautiful night of corporate worship and teaching, so you don't want to miss that. And then next week, we start Leave a Mark. If you need to pray with somebody right now, our prayer team will be right here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the lobby, and let's connect. All right, God bless you. See you Wednesday. Bye.